Yo, what is up, guys? SDFC Bros. By popular demand, we are bringing this back.
We're back, and we're staying back.
Yeah, we're staying back.
Yeah.
This show is never gonna leave, guys. The show is never gonna leave.
As long as there's people to listen, just
as
one.
long as there, yeah, we just need one.
Yeah,
that's all I
just
care about. So we ain't
Hi, Mom.
stat
No, I'm
joking. No, but for real, guys, SDFC has been on fire recently. So we're here to talk about two games today versus Vancouver and versus Dallas that ended, yesterday or 2 days ago? Guys, if you guys are new here, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Check us out on Instagram at SDFC Bros and check us out on TikTok also at SDFC Bros. Carlos, a lot to talk about. A lot of good memories to reminisce on too as well.
And some to forget.
And some to forget too.
Thankfully, I forgot a few of them.
Yeah, you definitely forgot a few of them. So let's start off with Tony's Pepperoni's Pizza, Carlos.
Tony.
Vancouver. Tony, you're cooking something
Tony's
over there.
cooking
He's
something.
cooking a pizza.
Yeah, that sauce is secret.
Yeah, secret sauce. But yeah, Tony's Pepperoni's hosted the Vancouver Whitecaps game. And this build-up, I think, was just everything I think we thought exactly. I think we went into this game a little pessimistic. We were like, oh, if we can, escape Vancouver with a draw. Also, we don't know how the atmosphere was going to be. I think we were all kind of, it's going to be a little dead, whatever. The complete opposite. I think Tony's Pepperoni's, this game versus Vancouver, best watch party that SD has hosted. What do you think?
No, I agree 100%. I think it was just one of those moments that I think are just going to be in San Diego's history for a really long time. Mm-hmm. And, I just think the people that were there, the atmosphere made it great. I think there's a lot of watch parties that we go to that are fun. They're great. The vibes are there. Drinks going stuff. But this one felt like a pure, like it was like a proper watch party.
Yeah.
And I think what also helped was just what was on the line. The game was an important game, and it really brought it. It wasn't just like come in and chill, because we got some watch party games where we go and we get to just sit and chill. You know what I'm saying? But this one, there was a lot riding on this game.
Yeah, definitely. The importance of this game, the significance of it all, right? This is the battle for first place. Whoever wins this game either stays in first place or you hop the person ahead of you. So I think there was a lot of things on the line. And let's talk about the lineups real quick. We were missing four major players in this game. We were missing Patty McNair, Chucky Delatorre, right, out with the national team, and Godoy as well, out with the national team.
Right.
So we're missing four starters. So I think we were kind of, what's it called? Our thoughts kind of were confirmed about being kind of a little nervous for this game, just because we're missing four major players in this team. And I mean, Vancouver's a respectable team as well, best in the West at the time, right? Of course, we passed them up, but I think
That's a little sexy. Look at that.
No, but I think this was a game that had a lot on the line, and the way that Vancouver played, I feel like those are the games where you see San Diego FC play the best type of football, and it's a team that likes to attack, right? That's how you can exploit this game and really open up the game in San Diego's favor. That's kind of how just I was seeing it, but of course they had a lot of opportunities as well, but really the goals that they scored really didn't mean anything into the tie. We were already, 2 or 3 goals up every time that they scored. So what were you kind of thinking about going into this game, and then were you worried at any point in this match?
Yeah, I think, strangely enough, I know we have our people that are out and stuff, but I think we've just been in such good form, regardless of them not being in, that I felt a little bit confident on that side. It wasn't like, oh my God, we're missing these players. Can we not bring a big game? It was more of like, I'm nervous because it's a big game, 1, and 2, it's Vancouver, more than anything. And you didn't really know nor here nor there. And we've had some challenging games, but this was probably going to be the most challenging one that we've had. Sure. So I think that's where the nerves came in. And it's like, how does the team react when such a thing is on the line? Are they wanting to even get first place? Do you see that hunger in them? And I think a lot of that was what worried me more than anything. Outside of that, like I said, our team has just been in such a great form. Knock on wood. I don't think it's going down, but I think what it is just like Mikey Vada's ability to just get the best out of all these players. And we're again, I think one of the biggest things that I said on Russell's podcast when we were first starting out was
a while ago.
Was if the system works, it's gonna work beautifully. If it doesn't work, it's gonna be the end of San Diego, and we're seeing that it works very well. And the players that we have, along with Tyler Heaps, getting those players
100%.
just fit so well into this system that it's really just like I wouldn't even say a puzzle piece because you don't need key players. It's just you can take in and out, put in and out. It's just easily like replaceable, and it really works. It's a really good.
Yeah. Yeah, on top of that, it's like he's a great man manager, right? You
Right.
see like those locker room talks that the team posts and everything like that, and he's saying, about like the occasion and kind of like what it means and like everything like that. And I think he truly has like the best idea on how San Diego wants to be represented in a football team. And I mean, look, San Diego FC is probably the perfect interpretation of how San Diego FC wants to play and how San Diego wants to play football as well.
Right, and I think like one of the biggest things about that, just like you're saying, is they represent San Diego so well. Like you can see like what it means. Like a lot of these players aren't San Diegans. I mean, we're lucky to even have two.
We'll talk about one later.
Yeah, but we have two. But even outside of that, it's just like these players understand that this team still means something.
Right.
And without a culture, it must be hard for them because this team doesn't, you know what I'm saying, have any culture behind it. But I think something that you'll come to learn is that anybody who comes out from San Diego, you can come in here, and as long as it's so easy to become a San Diegan.
Right.
So easy for anybody to show up and be San Diegan and be accepted. And I think what's important for these players is that they're coming here, and I think they are even feeling San Diegan.
Right.
Again, like we talked to Tomas Angal once, and when I asked him LA or San Diego, and everybody's just like, oh, he was just like San Diego. And I'm sure that's how the players feel as well. It's just like there's no culture here because everything's a culture. Everybody's a culture, and I think it's just such an easy thing to bite off of that. Like they're happy to be here, So
yeah. I think a player that knows San Diego culture very well is Milan Ilovsky.
Yeah, for sure.
This guy was just running rampant. He was like a dog off of his leash.
Right, honestly.
He was like a dog off of his leash. And man, little inside joke that stays between the SDFC
girls.
Oh,
if they know, they know.
If you know, you know. And the people that are watching, they know. They know.
Hilarious.
But yeah, first half hat trick for Milan Ilovsky, Escondido native. How important has he been in these last couple games? And he's playing like he's got rent to pay.
Yeah, no, he's playing amazing. It's just one of those things where it's just magic. It's just there's no other words to describe it but magic. It's just a cosmic thing in the universe. Like Milan Ilovsky was born to play and score goals for San Diego.
Facts.
Like when he was born, the universe said this is what's happening, and we were born to cover it completely because it's just one of those cosmic beautiful things. And the reason I say this is because Milan Ilovsky has not started in a single game since he's gotten signed. He has not started in a single game. He's shown up and scored multiple goals, and I think probably by his third game, me and you were saying like he needs to be a starter. He needs to be a starter. Wasn't happening. And again, San Diego is really amazing because they do these watch parties to get the word out and everything. We've been to many of these watch parties, and one just happened to fall in Escondido.
Yeah,
ironic. And we were also honestly not going to make it to that one. We didn't know if we were going to make it or not, but we did. It all just lined up. And what happens when we show up to the town of Escondido to watch this man play? He scores 4 freaking goals,
Isn't that
man.
crazy?
And guess who's there to watch it too? His parents.
Yeah.
And so it's just one of those moments where I think everything, the
stars aligned.
Yeah. It was just a cosmic shift.
Right.
And I'm happy to say like we watched that, man.
Yeah, like historic first ever hat trick for San Diego FC history, and it's from a player who was born in San Diego.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like how like you're talking about stars aligned, man. They were centimeter perfect, everything like that. So I wanted to kind of add in what kind of striker Milan Ilovsky's in because we had a conversation right after the game when we were just driving home on what kind of style Milan Ilovsky, plays. Right, we're talking about old school style strikers because the type of player that he is, you don't find that often, right? You're not, looking on the market and that type of, profile of striker is on the market, if not at all. You know, so it's like you're taking all things into account. I said he's kind of like a Higuain type striker, right? When you put him in front of goal, he's very well, but also his build-up play is also very nice as well. And I think he just has all aspects of the game that are just perfect for the style and the system that San Diego FC wants to play. What have you been thinking about Ilovsky?
Yeah, no, I think we talked a lot about it then and even before because it's just one of those things that you just saw. You know what I'm saying? Anybody who knows soccer saw it, and it should have happened a lot sooner. From how that started. But he's just like you said, it's just a perfect old school, striker. We don't tend to see that anymore because the game of soccer has changed a lot thanks to Pep Guardiola.
Pep screwed football.
Yeah, it changed a lot. You know what I'm saying? And that striker has been hidden a lot. I mean, I think the closest one maybe I think Santi Jimenez could be that, but like
man, I hope so.
Yeah,
for my sake.
But just like in Europe, those strikers, the way of play doesn't allow for those strikers to happen anymore, and you can see that there's like a shift maybe that wants to bring the old type of the strikers back, but it's far from there. You know what I'm saying? There's a certain way of play, that's safer. But Milanowski got to be part of a team that allowed him to have that freedom. And I don't know if he was balling like that in Norgeland, but I'm sure he was, again, in the same style of play then. But coming to San Diego, our style of play really encourages that type of striker mentality. I mean, even when we had in Vartson, which... not to say anything, but R.I.P. him. But he was playing like that new school striker position, which if we were that team, good shout out to Vartson, but what we really needed was a Milanowski, and it just showed through and through and through. And going into the game that we had Saturday, I think you even said like Chucky coming in, I think it just played even better with him there. So I don't know. We're gonna see a lot of shape, but a lot from Milanowski, but I think we have the ability to bring out the best in him, and it's just going to be amazing to watch because he is like what I loved about strikers. Like I used to grow up watching it for a deep cut, Omar Bravo. You know what I'm saying? For the Chivas, like dude was a clinical striker, and it was just those ones where it's like over the top balls. He's there making that run alone, where you trusted in your striker, not you used your striker as another pawn. Yeah, it's just I don't know, man. It's exactly what you want.
Yeah, no, definitely 100%. And even though Vancouver got on the board, at making it 4-2, it really just seemed like SD was in control of this game. It was a shame that Alvarado got injured as well, because I think he's been playing actually very good in these last couple games. And in this one, I feel like the last couple matches, filling in for Godoy, it's been a perfect fit. Kind of how you were saying earlier, right? You kind of just have, a like for like sub, into this. And I mean, thankfully Godoy is back. Unfortunately, though, Panama got eliminated in the Gold Cup, but thankfully for us, he comes back and gets to play with us. Right. So one critique I do have is the defense. It looks like it's been a little shaky in the last couple games. And if you just look at our last 3 games, including this one versus Dallas this weekend, 7 goals conceded in 3 games. And, I know, we got really lucky with Dallas, which we'll get to later. But in this one, I feel like it was just very fortunate that Iloski was just having an out-of-body experience this game for me. So I think you're seeing the result of missing a defender like Patty McNair, who is important out the back, not only as a leader, but also someone to organize the defense and keep their shape. I think that's someone who you're missing.
Right, and I think I agree with you too. And I it's not really like Patty's full ability to be a defensive player, but I think it's exactly what you say, is that leader to command that defensive line.
Right.
And without him, it's not terrible, but you can see the confusion on them sometimes, especially have like Ian's there, but again young, and it's not still like young, not like none of those players aren't. And Chris McVeigh, I think, kind of stepped into that role a little bit more since Patty's been gone, to step in there, but it's just not that experience that Patty has. And I think that's why having a player like Patty in the back, not because, and again, his defensive abilities, not to put anything, it's still great, but it's not just that, it's literally his mentality to tell, and I believe like the way that these young players look at him to just hold that shape.
Yeah, definitely. I think the best comparison that I think of Patty McNair with Chris McVeigh is Chiellini and Bonucci, right? In Italian, they call it husband and wife, right? Because they're just so perfect together.
Puyol.
I don't know about them.
Come on, they were perfect together too.
I know, but I'm kind of just thinking like an Italian. That like they called Chiellini and Bonucci husband and wife because they're just so complementary with each other, and I think that's what you see with Chris McVeigh and Patty McNair as well, where they're just the perfect match. They're the match made in heaven. And I mean, I think part of that success that we had in May, right, was because of how defensively solid we were. And I mean, look, I always say words talk, numbers scream. 7 goals conceded in the last 3. Ghana gotta, be a little bit more, stable out the back, because it's like versus Dallas, which again we'll get to later, kind of got really lucky. But to kind of just kill off this game, right? Tomas Anjal came in, an angel
Literally.
came before us.
Angel.
Tomas Angel. I don't know.
No, he's an angel. Call him right. It's
all right,
Angel.
fair. So he comes off the bench, he kills this game, set match,
Right.
and we call it a day. Vancouver did get a goal in added time, but it was just way too late, right? We were already 2 goals up as well in SD. Officially in first place after that. I want to say first place conversations for after the Dallas game, but what were you kind of just thinking overall about this game, and then we'll go into match ratings.
Yeah, I think just this was an important game to win. It was an important game to genuinely come out with a dub. And I think I said before this, like, I don't care if we play ugly or not. I just want to win. Outside of that, we played the most beautiful ball that I think we've ever played in a while. I think one of the biggest conversation was like also like with this style of play, we will be scoring a lot of goals.
Right.
And it's interesting to see because like I know stepping away a little bit, but it's interesting to see because like when you go see a San Diego FC game, we're not like 1-0 a lot of times, or we're not 0-0. We're scoring quite a bit of goals, and you get that with the style of play. We just played amazing. At the end of the day, we just played really, really, really good ball. Everybody just just put in the work that they needed to put, and it was just one of those games that was just super, super magical. It was one that I kept telling Vince. It's just it's in the history books.
I don't think there was a lot of times we're kind of critiquing, but in this game it just feels like no one was putting a foot wrong in this game. And I know my defensive critiques kind of get in the way, but it's like you kind of look at it just in the offensive phase of the game. I mean, 5 goals against at the time first place team. They were the best defense in the league, and they're a respectable opponent. I know they were kind of missing, their protagonists in the team as well, but regardless of the fact is we were missing 4 starters as well. So it's like I think you're kind of looking at that and you're looking at it in full. And the game plan for this game was 100% right. These are the types of games that San Diego FC likes to play. They like to play against teams that attack as well and who are ambitious and who want to score goals, because then that way it opens up the game.
Right, so. And I think what even adds to that, just without confirmation bias, because like you could all sit here and say, oh, without Milanowski, you don't know what would have happened. But the reality is Tomas Angal came in after Milanowski came, and we were still able to build something up to score a goal. Mm-hmm. So it just shows that like with or without, of course Milanowski is, but like with or not, we were playing very good offensive soccer, like genuinely, and we really threw Vancouver out of the water. Yeah. And the last team to score 5 goals on them was Liga MX game, 5-0. And obviously the level of play is different there, but for an MLS who's just starting and was going to be ranked last place,
everyone put SD last,
to go and score 5 goals as well, which like for me even just kind of excites me for these League Cup matches that are going to come up, because it's like, well then like look, if we did what Cruz Azul did to Vancouver in what they did in a final, we did it on a league day, you know what I'm saying? Right. Like what could happen in these matches. So
yeah 100%. So let's get into match rating. I'll go first. I'm not going to say a 10 just because if this was a 5-0-er, done and dusted, it would have been a 10.
Right.
Just for me, I think we were kind of sleeping out the back a little bit, kind of just type the loose ends. I'll say an 8.5.
Yeah, I think that's 10. Too low.
What are you saying?
No, I mean, when we were there, we were hyping it up. But I think one of the biggest things that we talked about in the beginning, I think Jasmine, our producer, she asked us, like, what would you rate a 10 and what would be your ratings? I think what Vince is saying is right. Like, what he's saying? It's crazy to go and give it a 10 or anything like that. But at the end of the day, I don't think a 5-0 is a 10. I don't think, because then you're just playing that. What I believe is a 10 is just the match overall. And Vancouver was a really good team. Vancouver wasn't playing bad. San Diego FC played amazing. Yeah. And that's just it. And Vince obviously loves defensive play and stuff like that, but who needs a defense when you're scoring that many goals? Respectfully. It was just one of those matches where San Diego went out and did everything that I could ask them to do. There's not one thing where I would sit there and say, no, you can't. And even if it wasn't defensive, it's Vancouver, who's number 1. Of course we're going to get scored on. Like, it's just happening. So I give this a 9.5, 9.6. I can't ever give it a 10 because 10 is like...
Yeah, it's like,
so far we haven't had any 10s. But it's literally...
Right.
I'll never give a 10. But if I had to be close, this is genuinely a 9.6, 9.7 game. Yeah. It was one of those games that it will forever go down for me in the history of San Diego FC. Just a really magical moment and the best that I've ever seen this team. And the way that they were playing on with Vancouver is how I could see them winning a final. Just beautiful. Beautiful soccer.
Yeah, certainly. Could have said it better myself. So let's get into our next game, right? The most recent one on Saturday at Mavericks FC Dallas. So kind of leading up to the game, right? We were really excited for this game. I think just because, like, obviously coming off of that really great win versus Vancouver, right? Also, you return to Mavericks, right? This place will forever be etched in history, right? First ever game for San Diego FC, first ever W versus LA, right? Whole, storyline book, all checked off. And I'm not gonna lie, there's a big conversation we need to have right now.
Yeah.
And you know what that is, Carlos?
What is it?
It's about the atmosphere
right.
in Mavericks, and I was not happy with the atmosphere. I think, number one, a big proponent that comes
right.
into this.
You can't blame the Mavericks did everything they could.
Mavericks did their
everything.
thing.
And Mavericks did everything they did.
It was the people that were in Mavericks.
Right. But Mavericks did, like I will not say, Mavericks had a whole barbecue outside.
Yeah, they had the barbecue. We got tacos. Yeah. We got the bartender outside. Yeah. They had the games. Mavericks as a establishment put out the perfect watch party experience.
100%.
So I'm gonna tip my hat to Mavericks, but the people that were in Mavericks was what I had a problem with, because it was, you could hear a pin drop in Mavericks, and I think
even after a goal,
right? Anders scored that penalty, which of course we'll get to later, but you could hear a pin drop in this one. No one cared, no one was up for it, but I think it's because people were at Love Island, huh, Carlos?
Right, yes.
It was the whole, was it the interviews for Love Island?
Yeah, they were doing auditioning, actually. Like, that's how crazy San Diego is. If anybody's watching not from San Diego, peep us, because we're on the map now. Love Island came to...
Do you think anyone on Love Island will be from San Diego?
Hopefully, and hopefully we can send them a San Diego C-shirt or something. But no, for real, it's like, just peep. San Diego's on the come up, because we had an audition here for Love Island.
Okay.
But, like, the hottest people in the entire world showed up.
Oh, yeah?
They were there, so...
You got a girlfriend, right?
Yeah, but I mean, these guys were hot as hell, too. I'll say that, too. But they're the hottest people in the world showed up to San Diego to watch, to do that, and I think Vince was right. I think that added to the atmosphere, because it was not the right people who showed up.
Yeah, I think it was like a mix. It's like you had, like, obviously the people from Love Island that were there just to go get laid. Then you had...
to audition.
Sorry. And then you had them come in, but then you had people from before that stayed that really didn't know the game and really weren't invested in it. And then you had, obviously, all the fans, right. SDFC fans.
But then also, I think it was also fans who were, I would say, like, low-key fans.
Like a casual. I don't have a problem, because it's like, if you're just trying to get into it, fair enough. But at least, like, like, engage in the game.
Right, but I feel like they were fans who, like, haven't gone to a lot of watch parties, so they don't know, like, you can scream and get loud, like, almost like, okay, like, have you gone to Padre games to watch a watch party or no?
No.
Sometimes the Padres, like, if you go to their bars, like, it's, like, quiet sometimes, too. Like, you clap for some things and it's not, but it's nothing crazy. But, like, with soccer, it's, like, on a whole different spectrum. So I feel like some of the fans that were there at the watch party were more of a, like, Padres, like, etiquette, like, I'm upset, there's a goal, but not, like, not going to these watch parties where we've, like, literally, like, sometimes beers thrown everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, Tony's was crazy.
Tony's was really
You guys gotta
different.
watch that vlog, because you'll see the night and day.
The carnage at Tony's.
And Tony's was a weekday, by the way, too.
Yeah, it was a Wednesday.
It was a Wednesday
game.
So, I don't know. It was just a different atmosphere.
Yeah, no, I hear it. So, aside from that, right, I think I really enjoyed, what Mavericks did. So, big
Mavericks,
shout out
you did
to
amazing,
Mavericks.
man.
So, so let's get into the actual game. So, lineups, right? Lineups, it was a little different because of Alvarado, so I think we kind of had to shift around. Right. We went from a 4-3-3 to a 4-2-3-1, and we saw our boy Manu Dua get his first starting debut. So Manu Dua, big up to you, tip of the hat for you. And SD would definitely start slow in this one, and it was honestly a Dallas team that really surprised me on how well they were playing. I think, this was a game where we were kind of thinking, 5-0, right? Last time we played them, we won 5-0. So I said like a 3-1. We were talking to Esteban and Brandon. I think Esteban was saying like a clean sheet 2-0. But, it was one of those games where I think Dallas really caught us off guard with how well they were playing. And I mean, they gave us a lot of hard times in this one. Even though we did score the first goal, right, with a penalty, Valakari gets taken down in the box. Dreyer steps up, slots it away. Not going to lie. Dryer's penalties kind of scare me.
Yeah, they do. They got Chuky's back a little bit.
Yeah, so Chuky's back, so hopefully, he gets that. But yeah, Dryer's penalties scare me a little bit. But regardless of the fact is, he does get it passed. And, we go 1-0. But then at the start of the second half, right, they would go up already 2-1.
Right.
So that was kind of a little, sus for me as like just a viewer, because I'm like, can we control this game, right? And it honestly looked, I think in the vlog, I was saying like around the 70th minute, like, I don't know, it's looking a bit dodgy. So I don't know. What were you kind of thinking? I know they don't really remember the game,
Yeah.
but from what you can remember, what was your interpretation of the match?
Yeah, so Carlos had a good time at the Mavericks
Carlos had a
game.
really good time.
Yeah, so I do what I do know, it was just, I think like the atmosphere surrounding the game kind of made me feel down. And honestly, like what I remember like too, the like watching the game on screen was really sad too, because like you didn't see the fans. Like there was like I don't know what Dallas was doing, but
Yeah.
it was weird. Like you couldn't.
There was not a lot of Dallas
for me,
fans
it felt
in
like
the
a
stadium.
scrimmage game for like for a half portion of it. They like blocked out this section, so it was really weird. But from what I remember, I just think like everything just felt off about the game going, and I think, I mean, it's just hard. We ask, like, it's crazy because we ask so much from San Diego, because they've been winning so freaking much. So
Yeah.
it's just like, like we ask so much, but I don't think that they played terrible. I think just Dallas played really well. And again, we have a team who's been away from home now at this point 4 games, 5.
Yeah, like I think like 3 or 4 actually.
Yeah, 4 games away, and then we had another back-to-back. Wednesday was a really tough game. Then to go from again all the way to Vancouver, from San Diego, Canada,
and then go Dallas,
and then go Dallas is just, we'll come back here, and then go to Dallas is, I mean, it's a lot, So and then we don't have our main people or this and that. So I think it was just a hard game like that for us to even get a dub. And I told you this going into the game before. I was like, it's just one of those games that just doesn't feel like.
Yeah, I'll give you credit for that one.
Yeah,
so
I was like,
well done.
I was like, on paper, we should win it, but it's just there's too much things that are going in.
Right.
So it just kind of felt a little off, a little weird. But from what I remember, like San Diego was still playing good, but not to the level that we truly always put these expectations on them. But it was still a good game nonetheless. And I mean, that's what I keep saying about San Diego, is that we show up until the very end.
Yeah, certainly. So we made some second half changes, but for me, the game changed when Chucky came in. Instant impact.
Right.
6 minutes later after he comes in, not only did he create this goal, he started it from, a little behind halfway, but he finished it as well, right? He dished it out to Dreyer to Ilowski back in, boom, Chucky goal. So for real, I think this was one of Chucky's best games in a San Diego FC shirt. And even with how little he played, he showed like what he can still do and what he can bring into this team. And I probably would have said exactly this if Chucky didn't score in this game.
Right.
But yeah, shout out to Ilowski for the assist. But I know we kind of been back and forth on Chucky a little bit, because I think he's just such a interesting player in this team. And it's one of those where it's like, it's hard to kind of judge what his impact is in this team. But what are you kind of just been thoughts on Chucky in general? Just keep it brief.
Yeah, I think Chucky, like, there's no doubt Chucky brings something to the team. So we can't ever rule that out. You know what I'm saying? No matter what, Chucky is Chucky, so we can bring him in. I just think the role that he's put upon himself at this point needs to take a step back. And I think, from what we've said about the Dallas game, I think and hopefully going into this next game, I think he's understanding that a little bit more now. And maybe that second injury kind of allows him to feel like more of a, I'm okay, because I think what it allowed him to do was, when we lost, and I know we kept it, try to keep it brief, but I know when he got injured the first time, we were like in a really rough patch as a team.
Right.
Like in here, yes, we were winning, yes, this is that. But we still came back and did good. And then we're doing good, this and that. But since he's left now, we're doing amazing. So I think that kind of gave Chucky a little way to step out and just be like, hey, like, maybe, and we'll dive a little bit more on this after this next game on Saturday. But, like, hopefully it allows him to see, like, hey, I can play in a more, like, I don't have to be the star the whole time.
Right.
But I have to allow my team to do more. And maybe now with having Ilowski be our striker for sure, Dreyer a lot more confident, I think Chucky might fit into that role now, which I think will make this team, if we were thinking we were like a 10 team already, like a 12 team.
Right.
But I think what needs to happen is Chucky needs to take that responsibility that he's thrown on himself off a lot.
Okay.
And I think once he does that, I think this team will fit him well.
Yeah.
Because in his other teams like Napoli, Pachuca, like all those other PSV, he wasn't like the star player. He wasn't going, but he was in a tool. He was our Mayan, you know, right, for those teams.
Right.
And I think if he puts himself in that position a lot more, instead of being like, I got to score all the goals, I got to do this, he's going to score more goals and he's going to assist a lot more.
Yeah. No, that's actually a really good point where it's like, I think this was a kind of a moment for him to kind of step back, look how good San Diego FC is doing, and kind of realize it's like there's not really a main guy, right? Because it's like even have Dreyer, it's like he's getting like almost 2 assists a game. You know what I mean? So it's like even though he's not on the score sheet, it's like he's still contributing and he's still, you know, doing the right things, you know, even if it's not scoring, you know, he's just doing everything else really well. And I mean, to your point, right, I'm hoping that he can kind of see like he doesn't have to be like that, you know, responsible or have that responsibility put on him. So no, I really like that point. That's actually a really good point.
And you're right. Like I think he just felt really. I think that's what the word I was. He felt really responsible to carry it, and I think that added a lot more pressure. But if he comes in and plays a little bit more like free and open, right? Yeah, free and open, then I think he will get out of that pressure mindset and say like, oh well, there's other people who can score or other people who can do things, and maybe this is the first time he feels that because we weren't feeling that beforehand.
Yeah. No, I think that goal that, you know, he scored, it kind of just encapsulated, right? I feel like before Chucky would have just taken it, maybe drive to the side, try to like dribble in, but instead he passed the ball like fairly in the midfield, and he just quite literally created that chance himself. He just walked along in the box and got a nice little goal for the equalizer.
And I think that's exactly to your point. I think that's what we need from Chucky more. And what you're saying is to your point is like he was like, oh, let me pass. Like let me pass and trust in the team to do something else instead of saying, oh, I feel like I have to do all of this and then make that pass and the assist, which we would have seen from an old Chucky. And hopefully this Saturday, that's exactly what we see too, because Chucky is so vital.
He's very important.
And he needs to learn that he can give it off to his players and they'll in return give it to him.
Yeah, have that trust in your teammates for sure. Yeah, 100% agree. And after that Chucky goal, you saw Dallas with some dangerous opportunities, but I feel like this was a point in the game where it was really interesting because now it's like you have both teams that want to win this game. They're trying to, you know, score the winner and everything like that. And this is where Mavericks started to get interesting. This is where everyone started to watch the game. Everyone started to participate in it. Yeah, not you. You were double-fisted beers left and right.
I was not that bad, but it was crazy. I don't know what happened that night.
No, but yeah, that's when everyone, you know, started to, you know, actually watch the game and pay attention, and that's where the atmosphere really started to get really good. And the game was fully open for any of these teams to grab a winner. And just like how you saw in the last game, you saw Tomas Angel get the game winner, 90th minute, plus six. And he comes in, right? And with the cameos that he's had, I really liked him in the last couple games, and he took this goal really well. What do you think about him? He's your boy. He's one of your favorites.
Yeah, he was always my favorite from the beginning. I think one of the biggest things is just he's no Iloski, and maybe if he was given the opportunity, he could have, but I think one of the biggest things was when Esteban said it first, he's a little sluggish, and I think that's the thing, but like having him as that sub was amazing, and the more that he buys into like San Diego, the more I'm sure he's going to be able to be scoring and bagging those goals. One of the biggest things that I felt after Tomas Angel scoring 2 in Milan, we might have too many strikers now. I know, but we kept saying like, oh, we don't have no striker, and now it's like, well, we have Iloski, Angal, Ivartsen, and then we can try Valakari from time to time. So it's just funny, you know what I'm saying?
I hear it.
But I think Tomas Angal, he's a great signing. He's great to have, and hopefully, like it just what I don't want is like bad blood from anybody. I think hopefully we can keep Iloski as the striker and Angal to be the
a super sub
a lot more. And I prefer him over Ivartsen, respectfully, but
I think what Ivartsen gives you, it's a little bit different. He's not as like direct. I think he's just a great player. I think I would compare him to, right, as a Milan fan, is Giroud, right. I think, you know, hold up striker. You know, he can kind of give you those flicks and every now and then. But I think if you want someone more direct and more, you know, threatening towards the goal, you either go with an Iloski or you go with the Tomas Angel. Right. And for me, Tomas, I feel like he gives you exactly what Iloski can give you. maybe not at the production as Iloski, right? I think that 4-goal game kind of inflated the numbers a little bit, but regardless of the fact is, Tomas Sangal kind of gives you that going forward. And honestly, I wouldn't hate him as a sub because you've seen Iloski have that substitute role where he makes that difference off of the bench. Now, Tomas Angel comes off the bench 2 times in a row in the game and he bags a goal.
Right.
And this one, a winning goal.
And a winning goal. An important goal. And you just show, like,
important goal.
And that's the thing. I think with Angal is, like, he's direct and he'll give you a really good 10, 15 minute like end of game performance. Like even at being cold.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can put him in right away and he'll come in and do that. And I think Alowski was good, but now we have our main striker. Mm-hmm. So I think going forward, and I want to kind of know what you think. I think what we need to do is like it's Milan Alowski starts, and if we have any like if the game's going over, this is not, we can throw in Vartson in. Mm-hmm. But if it's like one of those games where we need to win, it's going to be Tomas Angal no matter what. But I don't know how you see it.
I don't know. I think for me, you play whoever is in the best form right now. And I mean, Vartson, he is injured. So I think that kind of gives you a great gateway for someone like Tomas Angel to come in and make that difference.
He's injured again?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
He's on the injury list again.
Yeah, muscle injury, mid-July.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he's out again. So it's like, for me, it's like whoever's playing well, you get the start. Even if Ingvartsen was fully fit and everything like that, I think you still put in a Tomas Angel because he is what complements the team the best. I think coming off the bench and obviously that energy and everything like that is really good. I love Marcus, but I think, it's just a different profile. So honestly, it depends, I think, on what game, you want to play, right? If you kind of want to play a little bit more kind of controlled and everything like that, you go with the Ingvartsen. If you want to go guns blazing all out, you go with the Tomas Angel coming in.
But Malowski starts from
Ilowski starts, hands down. Okay. He is the starter. So let's close off this.
We'll see if we keep him.
Let's see if we keep him. I hope so. But let's go to match ratings. Mm-hmm. Let's close it off, right, versus Dallas. I'm going to say, even though we got the W and everything like that, I think this was a game, respectfully, that I don't think San Diego FC should have won. I think we got very lucky, Chucky coming in, making that big difference, and then Tomas Angel, having a miracle. So I'm going to say a 6.5 out of 10.
Yeah. I think it's just like a 5 performance, like average, not here nor there. I don't think we played too terrible. Like I said, I think your biggest point, the defense, for sure. And yeah, this game could have gone either way. But even if we lost, I wouldn't blame it so much on San Diego. It would be more of just everything outside of that. Right. And like again, like going forward, like we don't have, like, it's crazy because it's crazy to see like the next few games. We don't have those big opponents anymore. Right. Really, we really don't. The biggest one was Vancouver,
and I don't see Vancouver again at home.
Yeah, but I don't see us losing against Houston. Mm-hmm. Then we're gonna play LAFC. We got a lot of smaller teams, which I think we can ride out.
I think LAFC is going to be a tough one.
Yeah, but I feel like if we lose to any of these smaller teams, it's just because of fatigue or just because it's just a long season.
Right.
But I think we just keep the performance going, keep going forward, and we're really looking forward into this, the playoff.
Oh, yeah.
Because those are going to be the biggest. I don't know. It'll be really interesting.
Certainly.
But San Diego has a really nice run going forward.
Oh, yeah, certainly. So let's just quickly talk about kind of first place, right? I wanted to really dive into that. And then we'll talk about next game and we'll close it off. Mm-hmm. So, first place, 4-game win streak for San Diego FC. That is absolutely sensational considering, right, we were in a very tough spot in April. And then in May, right, we really turned it around. June was a big test. And, right, we're playing, first of all, Minnesota, right? Feels like a long time ago, but we passed that test, right? 3rd place. And then we had Vancouver, 1st place. This was a big week to grab points, right? You're not just getting 3 points, you're getting 6 points. Right? So you're really separating yourself from the teams that are in and around that area. So for me, right, you're just looking at these last string of games, right, that just have had a lot of weight to it. And these guys handled the pressure sensationally.
Yeah,
so
100%.
big shout out to Mikey Varas and the coaching staff. So what have you kind of just been making, right? Obviously first place talk and kind of just these last 4 games all wins.
Yeah, I think, like I said, whether we stay at first place or not, I'm not upset anymore. I think we've proven our point. I think the season's really long, so if we drop points or don't, like, I think I'm very happy. Mm-hmm. I think we've gotten to first place and we stayed there, and I think what the biggest and the most important part was that we dropped down and we fought really big to earn our spot in first place. Mm-hmm. And I think beating Vancouver speaks volumes complete volumes.
It shook the league.
Right, of where we are. So I think for me, getting this first place isn't about holding it for the rest of the season. It was about getting a statement done that we're no pushover team, and when we really want to play and we really want to win, we're gonna win, and we'll take it. But again, the season is far too long at this point to sit here and be like, oh, who knows what's gonna happen or what doesn't. And I think what really is going to start getting us like maybe to lose points or anything like that is just like, can we keep this momentum going for so long? I believe we can, but it is really hard to expect the team to do that. But I'm just happy where we are, and like I said, whether we drop points or don't, I think we still stay in that playoff contention. And after that, as long as we get into playoffs or the top 4 in this table, I'm completely okay with it. I'm completely fine because I know when it comes to playoffs, San Diego's just going to do the best that they can. And that's when these games are going to become more and more important. But I think this later half of the season, we just take it slow. We try to survive. Still say that we're winning. Don't lose form. But really start looking into playoffs. And I think this is the moment where you start looking into the future versus
playoff teams.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Versus these next few games.
Yeah, 100%. Totally agree with that. So let's preview our next game and then we'll get out of here. Houston Dynamo, right? So I think this is going to be an interesting one. We're back at home, right? Which is really nice. So I know we were talking about, a lot of away games. So we're back at home, back at Snapdragon, which I think is going to be a great night. Stars and Stripes night, so day after 4th of July. So it's going to be pretty nice. What are you kind of thinking about this? Are we going to continue our streak?
Yeah, I think we win for sure. It's Houston, and we're back at home. I don't think they want to disappoint the fans, who've been like really hungrily waiting for this game. You keep hearing a lot of buzz around, like we're just excited to go back to Snapdragon. So I'm really excited for it. I'm ecstatic, and I think we win. I think Chucky will probably start.
Yeah.
I think people are really excited to see Marcus and Varts. Not Marcus. I think people are really excited to see Iloski, Dryer, and everybody back. So I think it's just going to be a really good night, and I think the boys are ready to come back home too and get a dub for us.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's just going to be.
Let's get a score prediction. What are we saying?
2-1.
2-1. Fair enough. Yeah, I'll say 3-1. I'm a little confident.
That,
yeah, I'm a little confident for this one. Obviously, Houston, lower half of the table, everything like that. I think, with the SD just flying with colors right now, I think we get the W, and I think we really make another statement, right? We're here to stay in first place.
Yeah.
So, So, you got anything else to add or anything like that?
I mean, just I think San Diego has been speaking for me. I think SCFC has been speaking for me. I think the fans, everybody has been showing out just amazingly. It's been a journey, and I think there's a lot of games and a lot of history to be made, but I think Escondido, you are my bread and butter, and I think I'm just waiting for more moments like that because it really just felt, I think it just closed off this chapter that we've been in, and just like we have a soccer team in San Diego.
Yeah, 100%. Could have been put it better myself. So guys, if you guys are new here, you guys like, comment, subscribe. Check us out on Instagram. Check us out on TikTok. And obviously, subscribe on YouTube. Obviously, we know how much some of you guys like these videos and everything like that. And I think they're fun, too. I like a little breakdown recap of the games.
And come see us at any games or watch parties or anything,
if y'all
please.
See us anywhere. Come up. Love to chat.
We'll throw you on the vlog. We'll throw you on the videos. Anything like that, man. We should get some stickers. But outside of that, like we just love hearing from you guys, and we want to hear your voice. Again, like we said at the very beginning, this is a channel for...
Yeah, this is a platform to give fans a voice, right? So
if you have any gripes or you just want to say anything to us, like, please just stop us and give a little shout. Like, we want to hear your guys' words at the end of the day.
Yeah, 100%. So, yeah, guys, same thing. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Check us out on Instagram and TikTok. We'll see y'all in the next video. Ciao ragazzi.